Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to F1 1997. This is the day, or 2 days after, I think, I recorded with Simon for the first time in months. Please do swing by High Playing Games to check out a very, well, I was going to say hit and miss, but let's be honest, it's all miss. It's all miss all the time. Monaco Grand Prix. You join me, we will be running the race as always. This is round one of our custom season for Minardi. Just want to take a moment to apologise again that there are going to be corner indicators on in this episode because I'm switching back and forth. It's been a long time since I've been through things and I want to be able to record a half respectable race for you. I'll still make a lot of screw ups. We're not running with any other aids or anything. So I'm going to hit the track in just a moment and I will give you my word again that the corner indicators will be gone. They're already gone in F1 2015. I've done some warm-up this morning trying to put together a setup for recording with Simon this weekend for the Canadian Grand Prix. But for 97 it's still feeling a little bit slippery, so let's get ourselves out to the grid and we'll have some F1 chat, shall we? See you soon. Here we go. Still running a default setup. It is raining again, which is not quite what I was hoping for. But never mind, we'll press onwards and upwards. So you join me on what is actually in the real world. Let's check our pit strategy quick. Oh, no stops, only 18 laps. We'll see how we get on then. On what is the third day of the Barcelona Formula 1 test, pre-season testing. First of all, I just want to say I think I fixed the sound issue that meant you couldn't hear me on previous episodes, but I won't know until we finish recording this episode. So maybe you don't see this at all, who knows. Anyway, it's been a very interesting 3 days on the testing track so far. I think the main thing for me actually has been seeing that for the most part Haas have not disgraced themselves. Just got to remember to put myself on the lean fuel mix to start. We didn't do so bad on the qualifying, did we really? Oh, stop spinning the power away. Oh, that wasn't good. All elbows through the corner. You see what happened there? Again, too much power and they've all just slipped away. I was a bit early on the brakes there actually, a bit earlier than I needed to be. It's the Prost side by side going in. Oh, that Sauber's just giving me a nudge that I wasn't prepared for. Is that you, Larini? Run wide in that corner. Well, progress. I've been a bit too aggressive. And I've taken some dodgy lines like that one. But we're in a good place. Just got to try and get the power down. You see what happens when they pull away like that is I'm being too aggressive on the power. Smooth is always the key. Anyway, as I was saying, Haas did not disgrace themselves as some of us thought they might. The only embarrassing moment really was a front wing failure for Romain Grosjean, where the front wing plane came away from its mountings. And they did announce that, you know, they've got a fix to enable them to finish the day's testing, and they did indeed have a fix, but the fix in question was running a bolt through the mounting point where it broke into the wing plane, and then braking early again for that corner. Okay, get a grip of yourself. And then wrapping it in a rather striking red tape, which fortunately matched the colour of the livery, but that's neither here nor there really. It's not really an F1 solution. Now, fastest on the first day was Sebastian Vettel, which comes as no surprise to me or probably you, I imagine. I think I'm driving like an idiot. I think that Ferrari will have made massive progress this season, and I do genuinely expect them to be certainly giving Mercedes a difficult time for a good part of the season. As Simon and I already discussed over on High Playing Games, I'm fairly sure actually that the more I've thought about it, that Mercedes are going to come away with the Constructors' title, but it will be the Drivers' title is really up for grabs. I think Vettel suits being at Ferrari. I think he's at the right team at the right time, and they're doing what's necessary for him to achieve what he needs to achieve. Oh, 2 wheels on the grass there, almost lost it. Off the power for far too much of that corner complex there, and we're getting a trolley train. There's a reference for you. I think I'm going to have to turn the fuel up. I know it said not to, and that you just spin all the power away, but I'm spinning the power away anyway. Oh, they weren't kidding. Go away, Lacey. That was actually quite a good overtake from him there, because he was very late on the brakes. I ran far too wide there. I feel like I'm barely touching the power, and that's not a good feeling. But I tell you for nothing, I do need these corner indicators on, because this mod changes so much. I know I said that consistently through the qualifying episode, but it really does. And I don't know if that's a placebo effect, but it does feel very, very different. Now obviously we're not aiming for points, because this is 1997, so points were only awarded for the top 6 finishers, and I don't think we're going to get anywhere near that. Fenton sets a fastest lap of 1:21.7. Bearing in mind we are on not the hardest difficulty, but one down, so we're playing with the big boys. I would put it on Legendary, but to be honest, I don't think I'm at that level. I've completely lost my train of thought now. That was it, Ferrari. So really the Ferrari are going to be hampered most of all, as we said in that episode, by whether Kimi decides he's a racing driver this year. I could see him actually having another lethargic season and then just bowing out, but you never really know with him. He's apolitical in everything, so it makes it very hard to read his attitude. It makes it very hard to read his motivation level. A lot of people said when he left F1 for his first retirement, and I was one of them, I'll confess, that his attitude wasn't really good for the sport. But I think actually what we were doing was simply misreading him. And I think it's unfair to him actually to criticise him on that, because it might just be the way that the guy expresses himself is causing a little bit of misunderstanding. And lively. Those Prosts are in a hell of a battle. Right, it's time to start being a bit more aggressive, because we're getting nowhere. That was a terrible way to take that corner again, and they've caught right up to me. Lacey is now out of sight, so we're having a full-on trolley train experience, ladies and gentlemen. Right, I need to be braking later. I feel like someone just rammed me up the backside, but I didn't see any evidence of a collision. I don't know, the car now seems to have disappeared, so maybe he did. The car just wants to run wide all the time. I do love the sound effects. And I've got to stop riding the rumble strips because they seem to be pulling me too far in. It's a very Mika Hakkinen way to drive. He was someone who liberally used the rumble strips, and if you're lucky, you do get a bit of extra grip there, or you used to, but I think these days it actually does more harm than good. Who else was interesting? I have to say actually that McLaren seemed to have improved. Now it's not a night and day kind of improvement we're talking about here, but I do know, as I lose the back end dramatically there, I do know that Jenson Button is feeling a lot happier. Although I also saw Ted Kravitz interview Eric Boulier, and he said, in summation of day one of testing, not good enough. Oh, we've got a safety car situation. This could be good news for us. I wonder who's had an accident. I did think I saw, it could have been an Arrows parked at the end of the pit lane. I'm sorry, Jeff, I can't hear you because I've turned the sound down too low. Basically, if you see blue lights on the steering wheel and I'm not upshifting, I'm doing something wrong. That's a guideline for you. It means that the wheels are spinning and I don't have the traction to make going up a gear make sense. Now apparently I was half a second faster through that sector on this lap, and I don't feel like that's actually the case. And wherever this safety car train is, it's a long way away. I've been really holding up a lot of people. That's a better line through that corner. I think I'm starting to get a feel for the car. Problem is, I'm going to have to do some more practice in the 2015 McLaren Honda after I've shot this episode, and this is going to completely ruin how I'm playing that game. Now, who else can we talk about? Sauber have been very much anonymous throughout this test, so I daren't say too much about them, really, and of course we must avoid the usual hazard. The obvious pitfall is reading too much into testing pace, which people still have a habit of doing, even though it's reflective of nothing. I remember it was 2010 or 2011 where the Saubers looked really, really tasty in testing, and then obviously we all know what happened in reality. It's very easy for big teams to sandbag because they're testing something important. Okay, we're caught up. Be careful now. On the right of your screen there, you'll see the tyre temperatures, and basically you've got to try and stop them from getting blue. And you see the blue tinge creeping in on the rears, so you've got to try and keep some load in them. Although I forget, this is 2014, so the tyre simulation is not as advanced as we see in. You see a Lacey weaving there. It's not as advanced as we're having in 2015, and even that's not particularly advanced. Do you know, it's been a long time since I've been stuck behind the safety car in this game. A very long time indeed. So, sorry if this is ruining what little enjoyment these videos may bring. Anyway, moving onwards. Toro Rosso put their new car to the test in the hands of Max Verstappen originally. The interesting thing about what Toro Rosso have done is that they've put the car out in a plain blue sponsorless livery. And the only reason I can think of for that is that they've got a reworked livery that they've kept under wraps. I believe that indicates the safety car will be coming in. Who's that up front there? Is that Stewart ahead of Lacey? Don't know. There's two Jordans running up ahead of us as well. There could be a Tyrrell. It's very hard to tell in the rain. Yep, safety car in this lap. I'm gonna put fuel up to max. To the max, baby. And I'm gonna see if I can't cheat myself to a few places. It's gonna be hard because my tyres are cold. And I'm right up behind Lacey's rear wing here, so I can just dart past him once the race recommences. I'm gonna have to go around the outside. Or maybe not. Okay, gotta be brave on the brakes now. braver than usual. And then don't run wide so you can come back at me, which barely worked, but it did. And that's Coulthard's McLaren up in front of us. Get away from me, Alesi. Get away. Do you know, without Simon here to sort of pick up the dead air, it's very, very difficult to do these videos by yourself. Now, I'd be very interested actually to see if Toro Rosso have rebranded their car. I think it's like Red Bull, it's a team in dire need of it, and Red Bull did it all wrong, so I'm relying on you, Toro Rosso, to do something fun. Renault seemed to have a pretty smooth experience in testing. Some people were saying they didn't expect to see that. I can't for the life of me figure out why you would feel that way, because they are a very experienced team being taken over by a very experienced manufacturer, and it's not a new entry in the way someone like Haas is, or it's not someone taking over a struggling entry. Someone else who has not disgraced themselves has been Manor, and I'm very happy to see that actually. The Manor car is undoubtedly a step forward. Whether it's enough of a step forward, again, you can't really infer from test conditions. That was all wrong. You can't really infer from test conditions, of course, but I do so badly want to see Manor survive and thrive, really. You know, I don't think anyone expects them realistically to be a championship-winning outfit, but the problem with F1 is it's never really, particularly modern F1, never really acknowledged the need for a dedicated privateer team to nourish driver talent. I know Toro Rosso serves that purpose to some level, but I think we've never really found a true replacement for Minardi in that sense, a team that kind of is small, lives within its means, and is not afraid to take a driver on merit to bring them into the sport, you know, rather than just reverting to pay drivers who can cover the excesses of the team. And I think, honestly, Manor is a team that I would love to see fill that role. Force India, actually, are another team that have taken a very responsible role, and I've always been very impressed with their involvement with young drivers and development drivers. And their car, I think, represents a solid step forward. They did the right thing bringing a B-Spec car later in the season last year, and I think that knowledge they've gained of the formula while they're developing that car, and then the knowledge they've gained in the second half of the season from the new car which they developed, will deliver a very solid evolution of that idea for this season. And again, Force India are a team I think that deserve to do well, and I'm just very sorry for them that the Aston Martin deal didn't work out. It makes perfect sense to me, that partnership, and hopefully Aston Martin come to their senses and that team get the money they so obviously deserve. It's such an efficient team, and a team that consistently delivers on a small budget. I can't think why someone wouldn't invest if they were looking to invest in F1. The mind boggles. Now, Williams are a team both Simon and I have some concerns about. While undoubtedly their recovery has been very real, it does feel like they've been coasting on that initial first step that they made. You know, coming between 2012 and 2013, where, you know, the Martini branded car came to the fore in I think it was 2013, and we saw that dramatic turnaround in pace. Or was it 2014? It was one or the other, I forget. It's very hard while you're driving a Minardi in the rain in Brazil. Point is that that car was obviously a step forward. Bottas has been something of a revelation for that team, I think, although he's been a bit off the boil last season. But it does feel like they've been coasting very much on whatever it was they discovered to deliver that chassis, and the fact that they've got the dominant power unit on the grid, which, you know, is a big factor, make no mistake, especially now we're on a control tyre, so it's not like the old days where it was very much a tyre formula. I mean, it still is a tyre formula, of course, but there's no competitive edge to be gained by going with one tyre supplier over the other. There is a control tyre, and you just get the best out of it that you can. So really, it's an aero formula and a power unit formula. And the power unit, they've more than got covered, I think. And I expect it to continue as well. I think the Mercedes unit is the one to have, if you can get it, and that's why I'm so happy for Manor. But I think Williams, not that they've been resting on their laurels, I just think they don't have the capacity they had in, say, the 90s or the early 2000s to make development strides and investments the way that they have, historically. And I doubt we'll see them return to the bad old days, late 2000s kind of form. But by the same measure, I don't expect us to see a maintenance of recent performance. Again, I'd love to be proven wrong. Williams are a fantastic team, and I think everybody, no matter how tangentially you're aware of F1, is aware of Williams and kind of has a level of affection for them, and I think it's well earned. My driving's going all wrong. You're probably wondering, why is this guy embarrassing himself week in, week out? It's a good question, and if I ever come up with an answer, I'll let you know. However, it does bring me great joy to be back in 1997. I keep opening up a gap, but I'm very aware it's because I'm driving erratically and it's kind of catching the AI unaware and they're sort of backing off, fear of collision. But I'm not specifically weaving to block them, I don't feel, so I don't feel too bad. But if this was 2015 AI, I'd be in a barrier with no wheels by now. Keep putting two wheels on the grass going into that corner, and you can see that sort of sharp snap rotation as one side of the wheels lose traction. And too much off the power there. You can see that a Lacey can put down the power much better, and of course this is the slowest car on the grid. It's got the weakest engine by far, and while there's nothing inherently deficient in the chassis necessarily, it's just not been developed. And so the performance of the Minardi was always, as ever, hampered by that. My main goal was to finish ahead of the Tyrrells, and I think we're safely on track to do that, although I can see my insistence on spinning the wheels is causing us some problems, particularly on that rear right. It's nice not to need the Dulux power chart for once to sort of describe it as, you know, a sunset dusk or, I don't know, African evening. Taking that line that goes across the pit lane, and it does seem to be faster actually. I know you're not supposed to do it these days, but it was the done thing for a very long time, and it is the faster line. Yeah, he's got the legs on me there. He's going to disappear completely now because he's just smoother and faster, and I braked far too early for that corner out of fear of running into the back of him. F1 cars are a very funny beast, and when it comes to video game racing, I won't say sim racing because that does sim racers an injustice, I feel. Do a very good job of kind of inferring that to you, because they're a kind of car that require a very specific level of precision to get the best out of. It's a kind of racing where you're punished mercilessly for putting a foot wrong. And it's a car that you have to activate. You have to have heat in the tyres, you have to be going quickly to take corners because you need the downforce, you need the air moving over the surfaces of the car to press it down, to give you the grip you need to make it round corners. And it's counterintuitive to people who drive them in real life for the first time, I've been told, but it's this idea that you have to to go faster than you feel you can to make it round corners. And what we're seeing here is my performance definitely suffers in the corners if I'm braking too early. Although you get a cleaner line, you just wash off so much speed that you can't keep pace with your rivals. I don't feel we've disgraced ourselves in Brazil, and while we're on the topic of sim racing and so on, I'm going to do a video later today. I'm jumping between car games at the moment, on the demo from R Factor 2, and I know Simon's promised to do an in-depth look for me. I'm very interested to hear from you guys if you would be interested in me investing in a wheel and doing a sort of sim race diary kind of series. I can only drive open wheel. It's something I've noticed in various games. Whenever I try and do touring cars or sports cars, they're just too heavy and require me to brake much earlier than I'm used to. That I think it's something I struggle with, but I'm prepared to give it a go if it's what you want to see. I'm trying to, as I always say, figure out the niche of the channel, and what I notice is Grand Prix World is far and away the most popular series of videos I do, but anything F1 related gets an immediately better response than other strategy games or anything else I've played. So if that sounds interesting to you, I think that I've lost all grip in those rear tyres. I've got to keep Nakano behind me now. It's a matter of honour. Panis I can handle. Panis as a driver I've got massive respect for, but Nakano did nothing in that cross to earn being there, so I have to truly train all over him. But what we do is start out probably in the Formula Renault 3.5 cars, and you take the journey with me, learning to set up the car, evaluating our setup. There are tools where you can download your telemetry, and it's something I'd really like to get into actually. And we'd work our way up the formulae together. You'd hear my feedback, you'd see all the mistakes. It would not be. It would be edited to make it watchable, but it would not be edited to hide my weaknesses and deficiencies. I think there's too much made in gaming in general about showing that you're bad at something. And there's, people, oh, you're a noob. But do you know what? Everyone's a noob. At some point in their life, everybody is a noob. It's just a thing. And I don't see the point about lying about it. So, it'd be very easy for me to have come and spent a good few hours running this track with this mod and then turning off the corner indicators, but I'm not too proud to say when I'm jumping between mods and jumping between games, I get my braking points wrong, and I don't have time to re-record this video 12 times, so what you're seeing now is a deficiency in my driving. And I'm getting much better at putting the power down, but I'm not going to go back and edit out the laps where I was on the limiter and rotating on the spot, because I'm out of fuel. This is exactly what I'm talking about. I've been running on full power for too long. You would have seen that coming. Oh, talk about disgracing ourselves. I can't get out of second gear either, something's wrong. So here you go. I'm a good sport. As long as I finish ahead of one of the Tyrrells, I'm happy. That's Verstappen. Oh no! Oh, it was all going so well. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. And it was Irvine that lost out. Never mind. We lost out there. Lost 3 positions, fastest lap of 1:24.635. I don't know how that matches up to our rivals, but we will see. Okay, we were faster than... Let's take a look. We were faster than... most people, actually. Oh no. No, I thought I was a 123.6. I wasn't a 124.6. So, yeah, I was actually the slowest. Never mind. Never mind. I don't mind. I can live with it. Thank you very, very much for joining me. Please do let me know if you're interested in seeing that sort of, let's call it a road to Formula 1. I've been half-arsing this for 5 years and recording these episodes with Simon, and sometimes my pace is good and I get in the rhythm and the setup's right, and other times I just fail to deliver, and I've been hampered, I feel, by the gamepad. So I'll gladly invest in a decent wheel and we can take the journey together. You know, Formula Renault 3.5, Formula Ford, GP2, Formula 1, and you know, all driver aids off, and we'll just go balls deep into the sim racing front, and you know, you'll get a bit of motorsport discussion, bit of Q&A maybe, and you know, we'll see my shortcomings and see the development, and hopefully together we can see lap times come down and performance go up and stuff. I still think on the Codemasters F1 games, 2015 has been my best season so far, and I've been performing, aside from Monaco, consistently better than I have historically, and I'm actually working on the moment on a results table to sort of measure Simon and I's performance year on year. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Thanks so much for joining me for round 1 of our not quite a proper championship. We missed out on a point. We lost a point to... Well, actually, we lost 4 points potentially because we were running ahead of Jean Alesi for a while. Yeah, I would say conservatively we could have got 2 points there if it hadn't been for the fuel. But never mind. Have a great week. Thanks so much for joining me. I am pathetically grateful for all of you who watch, like, comment, do whatever. And I will see you for qualifying for round 2 sooner than you imagine. Take it easy.